Good morning. I'm Stas Margaronis with Rebuild the United States, and you can find us at RBTUS.com. Today, I'm talking to Nick Conaway, whose family is in the pistachio farming business, and the family's business is down in Bakersfield, California. Nick is with me today to talk about pistachio farming and some of the challenges that pistachio farmers and actually farmers in general are facing this type of year, especially with a much more challenging tariff environment. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, welcome. Nick, let's talk a little bit about your family background and how your family got into pistachio farming.
Okay, so my grandfather and grandmother lived down about an hour and a half east of Bakersfield, near China Lake Naval Weapons Center, and bought about 25 acres of land, started out with apricots, and from there, about 40 years ago, they started growing pistachios. Apricots were having difficulty in the very strong alkali sand, and from 25 acres of a few pistachios just as a hobby and a tax write-off grew into a 300-acre third generation pistachio farm. And we have trees that are 30 years old on that pistachio farm. It's grown into quite an operation that I don't think anybody had that plan of having. And it's got three generations who have worked on it and continue to try to keep it alive.
Very good. Nick, it's 2025, and we've had some real challenges with agriculture exports, ag exports this year. We have tariffs that we didn't have last year that were imposed or set up by the Trump administration. Uh, you and I have talked a little bit about the meat exporters, some of the challenges that they've had getting into the Asian market and particularly the China market. What does 2025 look like for pistachio farming?
It's scary. It's scary because we have a lot of product and an influx of pistachios in the state of California based on more and more people growing pistachios and getting rid of their almond, especially in the Central Valley. And with the amount of tariffs and issues with exporting, um, we have an influx of supply and not enough demand. We can't get rid of the product. So therefore, the price that we used to see 10 years ago of $3 a pound unprocessed from the that we would sell to the distributor is now, dropping down to dollar 10, a dollar
Uh,
five, which the prices of everything, fertilizer, equipment hasn't gone down, but our our bottom line sale has. So it's become a challenge.
Nick, we've talked a little bit about the almond situation. What's happening with almonds?
So based on the water crisis that the state of California, especially the Central Valley, where most of the produce and agricultural is grown in California, a lot of farmers and a lot of growers are getting rid of their almonds and planting pistachios because the amount of water it takes to grow an almond versus a pistachio is dramatically less. Also, they ran into the same problem that we are running into now as pistachio farmers, where there was too much product and not enough places for it to go. So the prices dropped significantly for almonds, and now we're running into that same issue with pistachios.
Okay. Would you talk a little bit about the role of the Wonderful Company and what they do?
So Wonderful is owned by Stuart Resnick. They are the number one buyer, but they are also the number one grower of pistachios in California. So they worked a lot over the last few years before these major tariff issues and issues with China rose to build a market in China and India and other places so that we would have a place to send are California grown pistachios. California grown pistachios are the number one pistachios in the world. There are other places where they are grown, but California pistachios have a reputation for being the best. And they have worked really hard at building this market overseas and in other areas. And they're they have they're invested in it just as much as the farmers and the growers here because they are the number one grower in the state of California.
What are some of the other things that Wonderful does?
They also own cuties, the tangerines. They own Palm Wonderful, which is the pomegranate juice. They have oranges. They have their hand and toes in every single aspect of California agriculture.
Okay, so Nick, bottom line here, are we are facing a much tougher agricultural environment, agricultural export environment. Is that correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
And we're already seeing a drop in prices because we're not getting the kind of exports that we have had for almonds and pistachios in the past. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yeah, they're sitting in storage bins, they're sitting in factories, not being able to go anywhere, and therefore, when we go to harvest here in September, the price is going to be lower because the supply was already too much.
Very good. And in terms of how many people work as pistachio farmers, can you give me a ballpark?
I know 20 years ago that there was probably 100 big farmers in the state of California. Now I would say that there's probably 1,000. I know that Harris Ranch, a big meat exporter, has gotten their hands involved. They own over 1,000 acres in the Central Valley. It's continuing to grow and grow.
Great. Okay. Nick Conaway, I want to thank you very much. We were talking about pistachio farming and prospects for exports. Tougher this year than in the past. Prices down from where they've been. Water issues and market issues. And those issues are not going away anytime soon, are they, Nick?
No, they're not.
Okay. I'm Stas Margaronis for Rebuild the United States, and I've been talking to Nick Conaway. See us on rbtus.com.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me, Stas.
Thank you, Nick.